Hey, everybody. Hey. I am on. Come on. Invite, encourage other people to join us right now. I got my phone. Let me go ahead and just kind of invite some people right now. I'm excited because tonight's going to be that kind of night. Tonight's going to be that kind of night. I promise you, tonight's going to be that kind of night. And so I want to encourage all of you to pick up right now and to join me because tonight's going to be that kind of night. Tonight's going to be that kind of night. Are you ready to grow? Are you ready to be awesome and amazing? Are you ready to take the world by storm? Are you ready to change your world? Are you ready to impact the world? Are you ready to be like amazing? Tell me. I'm waiting to hear from you. Are you ready? If you're ready, I want you right now to jump on. Thank you all for jumping on. I'm so excited about the opportunity to share thoughts and insights and to give you what I believe is life-changing content. I believe it's life-changing content. I do. I believe it's life-changing content. Tonight, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about transitioning. I want to talk about major, and no major, managing transition. Everybody put that in the thread. Managing transition. Come on, everybody put that in the thread. I promise you, it's going to bless your whole life. Managing transition. I want everybody just kind of put that in the thread now. Managing transition. As you know, at the present, I'm the king of transition. Lord have mercy. I'm the king of transition. When I tell you, I got transition down to a science. And so tonight, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about managing transition. And one of the things that I've discovered about transition is transition. Watch this. Everybody put this in the thread. Transition is the gateway to next. Transition is the gateway to next. That that how you manage transition will determine what comes next for you. Transition is the gateway to next. What's scary is most people don't really understand the power of transition, so they don't really understand how to manage it and what to do with it. But when I tell you that transition is the gateway to next, and those who manage transition well will be utterly blown away by how their life goes to new and exciting places. There's a quote by a guy by the name of William Bridges, and the quote is, "It is when we are in transition that we most come alive." It is when we are in transition that we most come alive. I'm a firm believer in this. I'm a firm believer in the fact that when I am in transition, I am alive. So like right now, I am thriving because I'm in transition. Pastor G and we are in transition, and I feel some kind of way. I feel so motivated about this. I feel so inspired about this because we are in transition. So watch this. Transition can be any area in your life. Transition back to school, transition back to work. I'm transitioning to a new relationship. And anything can be transition. Divorce is a transition. Getting married is a transition. Death is a transition. There's so many different ways by which we experience transition and so many different expressions of transition. And I want to suggest something. Most of us do a poor job of managing transition. There's this amazing quote by Christy Armstrong. She writes, "Times of transition are strenuous, but I love them. They are an opportunity." You ready? Here we go. They are an opportunity to purge, rethink, and become intentional about new habits. They are an opportunity to purge old things, rethink your priorities, but they also give you an opportunity to become intentional about new habits and new behavior. And so the person who understands then the power of transition, and transition has nothing to do with age. I'm looking at all three of my daughters, and all three of my daughters are going through some form of transition, right? Deja is about to transition from being a college student to now transitioning into a career opportunity. Alexis is transitioning. Taylor is transitioning from being virtual for over a year to now being back in the classroom. Everybody in my family, my wife is transitioning. All of us are in transition. And what I've discovered is that transition can be managed until it becomes exciting and not stressful. However, most people do not manage transition well. They become stressed by it. They become overwhelmed by it. And they feel somehow defeated because they can't always control the dynamics of transition. But I want to say something amazing. When you understand that transition is your friend, and that it's what gets your organization, your ministry, your life to new dimensions, then what you do is that you take advantage of transitions, and you see transitions as a wonderful opportunity to accomplish things that you are not accomplishing right now. You can never get to new things until you manage transition. But when you manage transition, everybody get this. When you manage transition well, when you handle these stages that moves you into new and next dimensions, as we say in the church world, when you manage these stages that moves you into new and exciting possibilities and dimensions, you will be amazed that the transition was never your enemy. It was your testing ground for whether you were willing to pay the price. Don't complain about where your life is when you don't manage transitions well. Don't complain about where your life is when God gives you these opportunities to go into different places, to go, Pastor Young, Pastor Foreman, to different places, son, Brandon Moore, and you don't manage transition. Transition is not your enemy. Everybody put that in the thread. Transition is not your enemy. Transition is not your enemy. Watch this. So let me give you some positive steps for managing transition. Here it is. First thing is acknowledge transition as a necessity. Acknowledge transition as a necessity. Recognize that your life doesn't go anywhere if it does not have transitions. Right? Your life isn't going to move. You're not moving to next spaces if you don't have transitions, right? And so one of the first things you got to be willing to do, this is huge for me. You've got to understand that you have to acknowledge that transition is a necessity. Recognize that it's a necessity. If I want to get to this next place in my life, I've got to make some transitions. Everybody, a lot of people are now where, I'm now the dean of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology. You got to say it all together. Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology, Pastor Neil Harris. That's right. I'm your dean, right? And so what happens is I am in an onboarding process. The onboarding process is designed to move me confidently into the role of being dean. That means I've got to transition. You ready? You transition three things. This is why I'm transitioning. First thing is you got to transition your thinking. You got to transition your mindset. You can't go to next places thinking the way you thought in the previous place. You got to transition your mindset. Secondly, you got to transition your understanding of relationships. You got to transition your understanding of relationships. Here's why. Because the next set of relationships, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose the ones you had. No. But the next set of relationships come with your elevation. Wow. The next set of relationships, Cynthia Smalls, come with your elevation. The next set of relationships come with what is next for your life. So you got to transition your mindset. You got to transition your relationships. Watch this. And then you got to transition your skill set. Wow. transition your mindset, transition your relationships, and transition your skill set. The skill set that is required for what's next will be different from the skill set that you use to get there. You got to transition your mindset. You got to transition your relationships. You got to transition your skill set. Watch this, man. Major revelation, Scott Cotton. Here it is. Okay. Here it is. Don't take old feelings of inadequacy and feelings of suspicion into new spaces. I don't care how many times you've had failed moments. You can't keep transitioning negative emotions from failed moments into opportunities of good moments. You can't transition, listen. I don't do a lot of like spiritual stuff when I do Monday, but I want to help you. If the enemy wants you to never be fulfilled, he will keep you living in what's made you unfulfilled, right? You got it? If the enemy wants you to live in an unfulfilled place, he's going to keep you living in the place of the place of your unfulfillment. So the best way to make me unwilling to try something new is to keep reminding me of the last time I failed when I tried something. And the goal is to handicap me. Man, I hope y'all are getting this. The goal is to handicap me so that I will become jealous of other people who are living out purpose, especially the purposes that are in my heart to do, but not in my mind to conceive. They're in my heart to do. I want to do this, but my mind can't conceive it because I've been so deeply wounded until I don't even trust the transition, so I don't even try. So what you got to be able to do is you got to understand transition as an ally to anything great that's about to happen in your life. Okay? You got to say to yourself, I am built for transition. Right? You got to say that to yourself. I'm built for transition. So first of all, you have to acknowledge that transition is a good thing, right? Or necessary. But then you got to declare that something is over. Okay? You don't transition, but what is still relevant. So in order for transition to happen, and all of this is inner work. All of this is in your head. All of this is in your inner life. All of this is in your solitude. So transitions doesn't start where people can see. Transitions start where only you understand it. You're built for transition, right? You're built for it. So let's think really big. Let's think really, really big. You ready? Let's think huge. There's something out there that I want to go after. I'm going to have to trust that certain seasons are ending for me to go after that. I'm going to have to trust that there are certain people that though I love them, they don't fit the new environment. And I'm going to have to trust that the new environment, though very foreign to who I am, is designed for who I'm supposed to be. Got it? I'm designed for this. So I've got to leave some stuff and go after it. Whoa. Go after it. Wow. So I've got to embrace the fact that this is over. This is over. This season of my life is over. Aaliyah, this season's over. Right? Pastor BJ, this season's over. Tanita, it's over. Denver is over. I'm done. Watch this. And here's why it's over. Because it's costing me too much to maintain it. Man, it's costing me too much to maintain it, right? If I continue to try to maintain it, it's costing me too much. I'm losing too much of myself trying to maintain it. I am giving too much of myself away trying to stay in it. I'm working too hard to keep it in my space. And I'm gonna tell you this: only you can say that. Only you. No one else can. No one else can say enough is enough. Transitions don't occur until you have the courage to say, "That's it. That's it." You know what? I have given away too much of my good self to something that doesn't qualify for that investment. Now you're ready for transition. Now you're ready for transition. So what happens now? Well, here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. You ready? You have to now determine who you can trust with the decision to move forward. You must now determine who you can trust with the decision to move forward. And when you when you finally trust somebody with the decision to move forward, now comes the strategic part of transition. The strategic part of transition is that you now begin to envision life beyond the transition. You now begin to envision life beyond the transition. Pastor G and I did this thing with couples the other day entitled Marriages That Fulfill Vision. And one of the things that was said, and she was so amazing. I love her so much. One of the things that was said was the fact that you can't continue to invest your energy in trying to fix what's wrong. Eventually, you got to invest your energy in envisioning what is right. So the bigger question for me, for all of you, is this: what is it that God has created you to do that will require the courage to move into new and exciting spaces, but you are still living in the limitations caused by the fear of the unknown? Wow. So you have to envision, you have to visualize new opportunities, and you have to envision that your skill set is designed for them. So you have to now see the bigger picture, see what's possible, open yourself up to it, allow yourself to trust it, and then break through the glass ceiling of your own fear. Break through the glass ceiling of your own fear. Because at the point that you break through the glass ceiling, Joe Brandon, when you break through that glass ceiling, Diane Bethel, you want to know what's going to happen? All of a sudden, Keisha, you're going to notice, Aaliyah, how free you are to try when you break through the glass ceiling. When all of a sudden transition is not intimidating anymore. When, wow, this is going to be new. This is going to be uncertain. This is going to be unknown, but it's exciting. It's exciting. Everybody put in the thread, I'm excited about my next transition. I'm excited about my next transition. I'm excited about my next transition. I'm excited about what's in front of me. I've never been here before. I don't know what to do with it, but the way I'm envisioning things, the way I'm seeing things, the way I'm thinking about life now, I'm excited about my next transition. I don't even know how I'm going to manage all of it. I just know it's a great opportunity that I can't blow. So I'm excited about my next transition. Thank y'all for responding in this. You guys are amazing in this regard. There is nothing that God is going to withhold from you if you don't, if you choose to trust these spaces of movement. So here's the other piece. Transition is a time of preparation. So start reading, start putting yourself in certain spaces like E3 on Mondays. Start reading, start putting yourself in certain spaces, and start having certain conversations, right? Watch this. Watch this, Taviana. Watch this, Luana. Watch this, Linda. Watch this, Pastor Linda. Deidre, start having certain conversations. When my wife and I started getting ready for this dean position, our conversation shifted, Stephanie. Bishop Clarence, our conversation shifted. See, transition ought to be evident in conversational shift. My frat brother Brandon Mack, right? Getting ready to get married, your conversation shifts. Getting ready to move into a new phase of your education, your conversation shifts. Getting ready to launch your business, your conversation shifts. You can't be talking about where you've been and where you being and not start talking about where you're becoming during your conversation shift. Right? So you know that in 5 months, you're going to be making a major relocation move. Or in 5 months, you're going to be making a major, life move. And you're still talking about what somebody did to you 10 years ago. You're not prepared for transition. You're only prepared, watch this, you're only prepared for transition when your conversation shifts. You're only prepared for transition when you finally stop talking about where you've been and you start talking about where you're going. And watch this. And when transition begins to occur and your conversation changes, now you start making decisions that affect how you will manage transition and what you will do when you get on the other side. I want to encourage this. Watch this. Watch this. You do not, if you're trying to lose weight, you don't buy 2 sizes too big. For fear, you're going to gain the weight back. If you're trying to lose weight, you have the courage to buy the size you're going to, or the size you're going to, versus the size you've been in. I've seen people who have successfully done it, and they start changing the size of their clothing. Well, let's talk about the size of your vision, the size of your life, the size of your of your success model. Are you changing what's around you? Huh? Are you shifting? My church administrator, Sister Shan Grant, we were in a meeting today, an executive team meeting today, and she made this incredible statement about me. And she said, she said, honestly, our bishop was talking about all this stuff, before the pandemic hit. And he moved forward by hiring an online connection pastor before the pandemic hit. Now, did I know a pandemic was coming? Absolutely not. If I'd known, Pastor G and I would have invested in Lysol. Right? I didn't know. I had no clue. I ain't gonna pretend like I knew. But here's what I did understand: that there needed to be something internally that changed within us to prepare for something for a new season. Here's what's amazing about your life. Your life is so big until you got to start projecting beyond your present, stepping into your future, and then forcing everybody around you to at least consider what you're feeling. Okay? Watch this. Let me get ready to close. Here's the most important thing that you can do. As you are preparing and projecting and redefining, right? as you are reorientating your mindset, as you are reconstructing stuff internally, and as you are reconstructing stuff externally, right? As you're kind of working through and building out new things. Here's one of the most amazing things about transition. You now are so inspired until you add 3 traits, and I want you to put this in the thread, and I'm closing. You now add the trait of courage, because transition doesn't happen if you're not a courageous person. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to empower it. It is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to empower it. Yes, I am afraid. I'm in a whole new space, and there is a little fear attached to this for me. I'm sitting in a chair I've never sat in with people who are presently more prepared than me or more knowledgeable than me in the present of the system I'm in. But here's what I've discovered. Every day I get in that car or get on a plane to go to Richmond, I'm saying this assignment doesn't scare me, even if I'm afraid. Some of you have got to face your tomorrow with the assurance that you are built for it. You're built to write that book. You're built to run that business. You're built to design that. You're built to lead that ministry. You're built to birth that. You're built for it. Stop living beneath who you're created to. That's the first word, is courage. Second word, strategic. You got to be strategic in your transition. So that means that 2 things. You got to watch people who've been strategic and learn, and then you got to relate to people who are strategic and get clarity as they're walking with you. So you got to be courageous. You got to be strategic, because transition is strategic. Transition comes with strategy. Yes, you must be strategic. Watch this. People have got to listen. When you're strategic, folk don't know you coming, but they can't stop you when you arrive. Woo! Folk, watch, y'all. Folk don't know you coming, but they can't stop you when you arrive. Man, it messes people up, because they go, I ain't even see him coming. Man, where'd she come from? You must be strategic, right? Which means, y'all ready? Sometimes you got to control your pace and not let your emotions drive you. Don't let your gaps drive you. Don't let your gaps drive you. Control your emotions and control your gaps, right? Because I got gaps. Control your gaps. Yeah, put that in the thread. Control your gaps. What does that mean? Here it is. You got these holes in your life. You got these needs in your life. You got these voids in your life. Control them. Don't make decisions based upon your gaps. Make decisions based upon your dream. Control your gaps. I know that sounds weird. Listen, you got voids, you got needs, you got stuff that's lacking. Don't let that drive everything you're doing. No, control the gaps. Control them. Listen, I want you to take ownership. When the Lord said this to me, it made so much sense. And he said it to me last week. I was driving to the office, and he said, whatever you don't know, don't let that be what drives you. What drives you is what you're called to do and called to be. Don't let what you don't know drive you. Because if you're driven by what you don't know, you're going to spend your whole time trying to master something to fill weaknesses instead of focusing on why you're created to do it. I'm telling y'all now, some of you have spent your whole life fixing you, and you've never taken advantage of the you that's whole. Okay? Got to control gaps. So you got to be courageous. You got to be strategic, right? You got to be courageous. Got to be strategic, right? Here's the last thing I want to throw at you. You got to be intentional. Got to be intentional. You got to mean to do some stuff. Got to be intentional. People have got to believe that you're waking up every day meaning to do this. You got to be intentional. You want a certain quality of life? You got to be intentional. You want a certain type of relationship? You set the tone. You set the tone for your relationships. Nobody sets the tone for you. Mean people don't make you mean. Angry people don't make you angry. Unhappy people don't make you unhappy. No, you set the tone. Be intentional. Be intentional about how you use your resources. Be intentional. And when you are intentional, and when you are strategic, and when you are courageous, you will do an amazing job of managing your transitions. I close with this. Because you know transitions are necessary, and because you understand that you have to envision, and then you recognize that you have to prepare, what ends up happening is that you must celebrate movement. I'm done. Closing my iPad. Celebrate movement. Wow. Celebrate movement. You got to celebrate movement, guys. Some of you don't celebrate movement. You complain about everything. Celebrate movement. Today we were having a meeting, and a brother who's going to be a strategic part of our team moving forward. Yesterday, I would sound, it took a little while to get it together. And one of the things I said in the meeting to our church administrator, executive pastor, and to the brother that's going to become a part of our team, I said to them, it took us a while, but we got there. We got there. And Brother Ron picked up on it. And it was interesting, the thing that really hit me as we were talking was that sometimes you complain so much about the process till you don't value the outcome. Last few months, I went through a process, right? I went through a process, but the process ended up in an outcome. But one of the things that was so deep was God taught me how to celebrate every email, every moment. Can I encourage you in closing? Every time God opens a door, your job is to walk through the door shouting, I'm done. Your job is to walk through the door shouting, God, I thank you for the door, but I thank you for the journey to it. Manage transition. Envision, celebrate, walk in it. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for watching E3 today. Next week, I'm going to have my son-in-law on. He's got a new position in higher ed at Ed Waters University, and we're going to talk about choosing a path and staying the path. Listen, if you don't mind, why don't you sow into what we're doing? Right now, E3 is down, so you can go to $Bishop JEG, $Bishop JEG, and why not sow into what we're building? Bishop. Right now, E3 is down, E3JG is down. And so right now, if you want to become an investor in what we're building out here, go now to Bishop, $Bishop JEG, and you can sow. I've been charging people to sow $56, and you can sow into what we're building. Let me tell you something that's amazing. I'm getting ready to launch my new website. I got a whole new website that the investors help, and there's some other things. even though I'm at the School of Theology, I've got some other things I've been working on and I've been pushing. And so right now, why not join us? Bishop JEG, right now, go right now and cash out Bishop JEG and just sow into the work we're doing. Every Monday, I'm going to come back. Thank you. Our numbers are growing. Man, I'm loving it, man. Thank y'all. Those that stumbled onto us, stumble back next week. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited. Remember one thing, you are not unequipped. You are equipped to be successful. You are equipped. And so why not sow into us? Bishop JEG. Love you guys so much. Thank you for helping me help you while we help each other. I'm John Guns, the Dean of the School of Theology of Virginia Union. Love it. Senior Pastor, St. Paul Church of Jacksonville, founder, chair, and CEO. Operate Save Our Sons. I'm loving life, and I'm going after all of it because it is for me and for you. The best is yet to come. Be blessed, everybody. We love you. Take care. We'll see you next Monday.